Hi, Christabelle.
Hi, Grace.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Please relax, and we're letting people in now, and we're going to turn it over to Grace and Morgan in just a few minutes. Remember, as we're going, if you have any questions at all of the scholars, please feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourselves and ask the questions out loud when the time presents itself. So we're going to start off just by going through just some general information about all the different programs. And then Grace is going to allow the scholars themselves to talk to you a little bit about their experiences. So Grace, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sandra, for having us. We are so excited to be part of this program today and to talk to you about all the opportunities that we have had at Morgan State University, our journeys, and how, some of us went on a straight path, some of us went on a different path, but we are all going to the same path to get to where we are. I am going to start by introducing myself. My name is Grace Yambura. I am originally from Kenya, hence the accent. I am a Morgan alum. I graduated at Morgan in 2013 with a Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry. And then I went ahead and did my Master's in Public Health at Morgan, graduated in 2017. And I finally got into a PhD program that I started this spring semester. And I'm at George Mason University doing a PhD in social and behavioral health. And I'm so excited. So some of the people that I brought here with me were my past students in terms of I taught them in a class. Some of them, I just taught them summer programs, and some of them are my current RISE students. And we also have another program at Morgan called Ascend, and which will be represented by one of our Morgan students, and we will tell you all about it. So I'm gonna start by letting everybody introduce by themselves. So I'm gonna start on my screen how I see everybody, and then we'll move that way, all right? So I'm going to start with Tiara.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tiara Hinton. I am a third-year PhD candidate in pharmaceutical sciences at Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. I was born and raised in PG County, Maryland, and I attended Morgan State University. In 2018, I graduated with a bachelor's in chemistry. And while I was there, I initially did research voluntarily, and then I became a member of RISE, in which I then started getting paid to do research, which was pretty cool. And yeah, now I'm in Detroit and it's cold.
Thanks, Tiara. Next person is Adisa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edison Buchanan. I'm a current junior at Morgan State University. I'm a psychology major and a current RISE scholar. My lab personal investigator is Dr. Tulloch, and in our lab, we implement animal models in order to study risky behavior and inflammation.
All right. Thanks, Adisa. And the next person is Michaela.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm a junior at Morgan, and I'm studying biology with a minor in chemistry. My current research is in Adisa's lab with Dr. Tulloch, and we're studying discrimination and how that causes inflammation in the body. And I used to do research with a professor named Dr. DeLuzin, but he actually left Morgan. But we used to do research in high blood pressure in African-American women and how that's different and differs from white women and that racial health disparity.
All right. Thank you so much. The next person is Blessing.
Hi everyone, my name is Blessing. I am a fourth year PhD student in molecular pharmacology and physiology at Brown University. I graduated from Morgan State in 2017 with a bachelor's in biology, and I was a part of the RISE program. So that's the way that I can contact with a lot of familiar faces here. My research is focused on understanding the roles that a special class of non-coding RNA play in a disease model called glioblastoma.
All right. Thank you, Blessing. The next person is Piers.
Good afternoon. My name is Perkins. I'm an alum of Morgan State University. I was a chemistry major with a minor in biology. Currently, I'm at the National Institute of Mental Health. I conduct research involving perception with macaque rhesus monkeys, and I'm currently in the process of doing the application cycle for MD PhD over at Johns Hopkins.
All right. Thank you so much, Piers. Dominique.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dominique Munson. I am a current third-year graduate student at UNC Chapel Hill. I'm in the pathology department at Chapel Hill. My project mainly focuses on understanding how immune cells can cause kidney injury in a rare autoimmune disease called ANCA vasculitis. And I am also a former RISE scholar at Morgan State University in 2017. I graduated with a BS in biology, and that's it. Welcome.
Thanks, Dominique. Tunji.
How y'all doing? My name is Aditonji. I'm currently a first-year medical student at Howard University. I graduated in Morgan last year. I was a chemistry major, and excuse me, and I was part of the Ascend program, but it was kind of like Ascend and Rise together because I was in between both programs for real. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. Thanks, Tunji. And Christabelle.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Christabelle Ajapong. I am a senior biology major with a minor in chemistry at Morgan State University. I am a second year Ascend Scholar with Cohort 5. What else? I know Grace through the Ascend and Rise collaboration that we have going on at Morgan State University. And I am currently in the process of applying to postbac and master's programs in research. And then my research study is in vaping and COVID and how they're related.
Right. Thank you so much, everybody. So we have a very short presentation where I'm gonna show you about each program and some other programs we didn't talk about. And then we're gonna tell you, the way I have it in my mind, we're gonna tell you our journey, and which you will find all of us have very interesting journey. All right. So I'm gonna start by sharing my PowerPoint. I don't think I have sharing capabilities.
Okay, make sure I've done that.
Okay. And if you have any questions, please put them on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask us any question.
You should have it now.
All right. Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to start by talking to you about all the opportunities that we have right now at Morgan. Hold on one second, the beginning. All right. So we've talked about these different programs, but some of these programs we didn't talk about it. So one of the things I'm going to talk to you about is this new scholarship program that we have. It's all for freshmen. If you're a freshman who is interested in chemistry, math, physics, or biology, you're from Baltimore area, you're Pell Grant eligible, and you apply to Morgan and you are accepted, we will pay for your scholarship for the next 4 years, as long as you stay in good academic standing. and the scholarship, so you can get a full ride for tuition, or you can be funded to stay on campus. And you will still have the same experiences within the other programs where you go for research experiences, conference travel, mentorship from the chairs, and assistance with applications to grad school. And you can be in the FUSE program and also be in any of the other programs that we will talk about. So the next program that you kind of had so much about it is the RISE program. So in the RISE program is you have to be, as even from freshmen, so we accept people from freshman year, and it's a research program. We don't expect you to come knowing how to do research. We will train you from scratch. We will help you out. We will guide you. We will show you the journey of how to even find a research question, and we'll walk with you throughout the journey until you get to into school. All right. So Lsamp, all these programs do the same thing. So I'm rushing through it because we're gonna, once you hear our story, you'll be able to understand each and every program. So Lsamp is another program. So for Lsamp, you don't have to be interested to go into a PhD program, but you also get paid, you get hands-on research training, you travel to conferences, and we all go to the same conferences. So Ascend, Rise, Lsamp, and Fuse, we all go to the same conferences. So you're not limited because you're in this one, you're not exposed to the other one. All right, and I'll let Christabelle talk about Ascend.
Hi everyone. So like Grace said, we all like do the same things pretty much. Same eligibility or similar eligibilities and similar benefits. However, with the Ascend, you need to have and maintain at least a 3.0 GPA. Some of the, the US requirements, you have to have a strong interest in biomedical or behavioral sciences in order to impact your community through it, whether it be at Morgan, within Baltimore City, PG, wherever you reside, or in the country in general. You do have to be a part of the Student Research Center, which I will talk about in the next slide. You have to be an active member. And I'm also the president of the Student Research Center for the second year. You have to be enrolled in a specific class at Morgan, which is called Science 200, or the equivalent to it is have done a summer research program prior to entering into the STEM program. And lastly, you do have to intend on going to graduate school after this and focusing in biomedical or behavioral disciplines. We have great opportunities, like Grace said, you go to professional conferences that are paid for, you work and are paid for a minimum of 15 hours a week. You build relationships with some of the faculty and your peers. You have mentoring. We pay part of your tuition. You also have a monthly stipend that is really, really good to cover some of your living expenses on campus or off campus. And you have the opportunity to get your research, having your research come to life. So they pay for the things that let your research come into existence, and you have full support during the whole 2 years. Next slide, please. So the Student Research Center is somewhat of a collaborative organization with Ascend. In order to be a part of it, you have to be a Morgan State student in undergrad and have at least a 2.8 GPA, be interested in biomedical research, and want to pursue a career in health related or biomedical research. The benefits, there are wonderful benefits such as academic and professional development, networking, having an organization behind you in supporting your research. You build friendships and relationships with your faculty and your peers. We also have other things like other initiatives such as the Lsamp that gives you $5,000 in order to fund your research and go ahead and do your research, and you support from faculty members at Morgan.
Thank you so much, Christabelle. And I have the links for all the website, and I've shared I shared the PowerPoint with Sandra, and she can share the PowerPoint with you guys at any moment. All right. So here we are. Anybody with any questions so far? No, no questions yet. All right. So I'm going to.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you have, are there any ones that you don't have to have a biomedical, what's it called, major for?
All right. So for most programs, so all of these programs, apart from Lsamp, is funded by the NIH, and the NIH requires the biomedical part of it. So we are required to have a biomedical part of the research, and everything that we do today, even though you don't see it, is always related to biomedical. Even we're talking to one of the students who is an engineer. She's interested in building buildings that can be able to help hospitals be able to handle emergencies, like in developing countries. So everything that we do today has to have a biomedical importance. And you can be, so in RISE, you can be in computer science, engineering. I think those are the main ones that we have that are outside of biomedical. And you can still be able to do research with them. Any other question?
With the sun, I was going to speak part.
Yeah,
with the sun, you can be a psychology major, computer science, engineering. So all of these majors, they intersect, and they in some way form your research interest forms to become biomedical. There's some people who are outside of the regular STEM area, and within engineering or computer science, psychology, English, in some way, shape, or form, they end up impacting research through the biomedical standpoint. So you don't really have to be a STEM major. You just have to have something or an idea that could be related to biomedical research.
Thanks, Christabelle. Anybody else with another question?
That's very helpful. Thank you.
So I'm going to start by asking my students kind of to help you guys, guide you guys. How was your first time in a lab? Did anybody have an experience of doing research before joining the program?
I did. So my freshman year, my lab instructor, Dr. Shaw, he actually needed someone to do research for him, and I was the one to do it. It was a volunteer opportunity. I think it was my second semester, and it was really different for me because I was in a dry lab. Dr. Shaw does a lot of computational chemistry. So we were looking at the activation energy of the degradation of hydrogen peroxide with using halides as catalysts. So that's like iodine, chlorine, bromine, and fluorine, just to see if the software that we were using was matching the numbers in the literature, which they did. So that was my first, I guess, university lab experience. And I didn't like it at first because I was expecting to be in a wet lab. And that is my preference, to be in a lab, in gloves, doing things with my hands rather than sitting at the computer. But it was definitely an interesting experience and something that I can add to my tool belt and things that I know how to do, because that shows that I am, multifaceted. I can do computer things. I can work in a wet lab. I can do data analysis and actually perform well in a dry lab. So that was my first research experience prior to RISE.
Thanks,
Tiara, can I ask you to explain the difference between a wet lab and a dry lab to people on Zoom?
Yes. So usually a wet lab is something that you would automatically think of in doing any type of science. you are in a lab thing. I think of it as like it's a wet lab because things can be spilled. Like you have liquids, you have solutions, you have, you definitely need to have on like your gloves, your goggles, your lab coat in case anything splashes on you. Like literally a wet lab. Whereas a dry lab, it's not necessarily a lab. Since everything was computational, I was in a room on the computer. So there are no bottles of liquids. I didn't need to have on my PPE because I'm just sitting at the computer, but I had to use, I was using this particular software in order to run my experiments virtually rather than do these same experiments using liquid hydrogen peroxide and liquid catalysts in a lab.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks, Tiara. I'm going to go to Tunji. How was your transition from Morgan to medical school, and did you shadow a doctor?
Yeah, so the transition, it was tough. It's still tough. I'm still trying to figure it out. And yeah, I did shadow a doctor the summer of 2018. I shadowed 2 doctors actually. I shadowed my first doctor the summer of 2018. And I shadowed my second doctor the summer of 2019 in Utah. So yeah, I shadowed 2 doctors.
Okay. And did you feel like you were well prepared for your program?
Yeah, most definitely. Because you know, with Morgan and like doing research and stuff, I feel like the research part actually really helped my application. Because yeah, when I was doing my interview, they really wanted to know about the research I did. Because I wrote so much about it in my application. So yeah, Morgan actually really prepared me for my program right now.
Can I ask you one question? How did you actually get your shadowing opportunity? Was it something you reached out to do, or did you have other adults helping you? How did you get the shadowing opportunity?
Right. So for the first one I did at the summer of 2018, I had to reach out to someone I knew. So there's a hospital near my house in New Jersey, and there's a doctor, a family doctor that we know up there. So I just reached out to him like, oh, I'm trying to shadow you this summer for like so amount of time, if that's fine with you. And he said, and he was cool with it. So for the first one, I definitely reached out to someone to get the opportunity. But for the second one, which I did in 2019, it was part of a program, my summer research internship that I did. So the shadowing was part of that program. So sometimes you have to reach out to people, other times it's just part of a program that you already applied to.
And thank you for sharing that, because we found that to be the case a lot of times. So for some of the students that are on, think about that. You know, who do you know, or who in your network that you know, that you're trying to think about whether this might be a career you want to go into. In some cases, there may be somebody in your circle, even your own doctors, or someone that someone else's knows at your church, that can give you the opportunity to shadow. And then not only is that something you can put on your resume when you're going to some of these programs, but it also will give you a chance to see if it's something you want to do. So thank you.
No problem.
All right, thanks. I'm going to go to Blessing. So Blessing, you moved from Morgan to Brown. I'm going to ask you, how did the RISE program help you get into an Ivy League school? And how did it prepare you?
I think it was really, for me, one of the top things about being a student in the RISE program was just the opportunities that are available to you. So actually my first time coming to Brown was through an event, like it was called Preview. No, not Preview Day. It was like a graduate open house event. And it was advertised via email and newsletters and things. So, signed up for it, and all the students that signed up, it was a group of Ascend students and RISE students. So all of us partnered up together and flew down here. So I'm in Rhode Island right now. It's kind of cold, but we all flew up here, and it was a great, I think Tiara was there as well. We all went and had the opportunity to kind of talk to professors and talk to different graduate programs. and just get insight on that. And that's something that I really cherish about being part of the RISE program, because going to the conferences like Abercrombs and other smaller conferences, there was this one called the Nest Conference, which was also organized through Brown. So with just a lot of connections and opportunities to attend, go to these different schools. We went to UPenn as well. So just attend different schools, and then while you're there, you get the opportunity to talk to students and to faculty members, and then look at the different programs that they're offering. And that way you build your network. So that was how it happened for me.
Thanks. All right. I'm going to go to my current RISE students, Michaela and Adisa. How are you guys feeling, or you've done RISE for an year now? How is it for you guys? I know it happened during the pandemic. How is it?
The RISE program has been a great opportunity. I think so much of life is access to opportunities, and RISE has just provided several opportunities, from networking to just giving me a place to showcase my abilities. So we had a conference, Abercrombs, and at the conference, I was able to get in touch with and speak to several graduate coordinators and also showcase my research. So the program has just given me tons of opportunities that I would otherwise not have access to.
I am gonna piggyback off of Adisa a little bit. I completely agree. I feel like I've had a lot of opportunities as well, not only in research, but also I think that RISE has really helped me with school as well. We do a lot of writing abstracts, which are basically like summaries of our research, which we submit to conferences, and that's when they accept us in. But I've been doing a lot of abstract writing, and because of that, I've been able to write really well when it comes to lab reports and other things. And even though we're online, I'm still getting, because of COVID, I'm still getting a lot from RISE. We learn a lot about internships and how to apply for internships. And my current mentor, Dr. Tulik, she has been really helpful in telling us which internships we should apply to. And, you know, your mentor is really your mentor. So yeah.
Anybody with any questions so far? You're on mute.
I have one. So what has the mentorship been like? First of all, do you assign mentors in these programs to people, or do they have some role in picking them? And if they are assigned, what do people feel like they've gotten out of the mentorship opportunities there?
I can definitely answer this one. So I actually picked my first mentor when we first applied to RISE. Grace and Dr. Winstead asked us, who do you think you want your mentor to be? And my first mentor, his name is Dr. DeLuzin. I was like infatuated with like his research and everything. So, but he's gone now. But I think that the mentorship is really like having somebody, it's like having a professor that's like only your professor, if that makes sense. So they tell you how you should do things, and not necessarily how you should do things, but how you should do things to be successful. I've learned so much from my research mentors, both of them, just in like work ethic, and like when I need to have something done, I need to do it beforehand and not procrastinate. So just like it's really good to have somebody that, you know, is really guiding you along and helping you out so that you know that you know what you should do in order to be successful.
Can I just add something real quick to the mentorship?
Yes.
So funny enough, I mean, I graduated Morgan almost 4 years ago now, and I still keep in touch with my mentor from Rise. So they do give you that opportunity to choose who you want to have as a mentor. And if things are not working, you can always switch over. So I had an amazing relationship with my mentor from undergrad. I still call him now, even as a grad student, to be like, oh, this is not working and I need help and this and that. And it's like, you know, that kind of feel home safety thing of like knowing that you still have someone to go back to. He always tells me like once a mentor, always a mentor. So yeah.
Wonderful. There's a
I can
question in the
piggyback-
chat about,
oh,
Chris, I'm sorry about, I just wanted to get the chat
no, you're
question.
fine.
There was a question about, does every college have mentors? And I guess the answer to that is there are people at every college that could mentor, but a lot of times these programs that Grace and all the other scholars here are talking about are really focused on not only having access to research, but getting a mentor. So the advantage of these programs are that they really help the students and encourage the students to go for mentors, where just being in college, just in general, a lot of time that choice is up to you. So Christabelle, go ahead. You can tell us what you were gonna add.
I was gonna speak on the Ascend and SRC part because I am currently in both. On the SRC side, I joined SRC first before Ascend, and I went to go look for a mentor. And my mentor was Ms. Shamara Murphy. She's the program coordinator for SRC and Ascend. So I took her, well, she took me under her wing as her mentor, just by, popping into her office. So I know a lot of people have this facade about college that is like professors and students, whereby that's not really the case. We're all adults in college, and you never know, your mentor becomes your best friend after a while. And that is the whole point of these programs, not only for you to have a professional relationship with a mentor, but to also have like the easygoing part. Like she's my mentor on the SRC part, so I always I hit her up, like, oh, do you want to go out to lunch, or do you want to get something really quick? She not only helps me with academic things, she also helps me with like social life and all like the unprofessional stuff. So that's really good. But on the professional side, like with my research mentor, Dr. Kelly Murphy, she's like a wonderful person. Your mentor is like, I wouldn't say like your guardian angel or something like that, because like they've lived a life that you haven't lived, and the amount of people that they know is very beneficial for you as a student. A lot of the opportunities that I have received was through my mentors, through the people that they know, their colleagues, their friends. So your mentor becomes your best friend. My research mentor, as Michaela says, like puts me on track. She helps me understand what I need to get done, how to get it done. So your mentor is like, I don't know, like your school best friend, parent slash, it's like everything summed up to one. So your mentor is a good person, and it's good to look out for a mentor. In the sense, they give you look for a mentor, and that's who they assign the mentor to be.
Can I add something to that? I think when it comes to mentorship, something that is important to include is that you can have different mentors for different things. So your research mentor may also be a personal mentor, or you can have a research mentor specifically for research and science, and then someone else who is like your professor, is not your professor, is someone on campus, someone that you just know, who helps you with things that you need help with. It really doesn't matter what it is. So these people can come as a package deal, or you specifically have certain people for certain things. The same way you have different friends for different reasons. You can't tell all of your friends the same thing. So I think that's just an important thing to note. I think a lot of times we don't exactly know what we're talking about when we say mentor, because they can look like many different things and many different people in many different arenas.
Thank you. I'm going to jump to Sabria, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. So Sabria, how did you feel Morgan prepared you to? I think you got into med school in your second year as a sophomore at Morgan. How did you feel like Morgan prepared you for this journey?
Yeah, that's right. Hi, everybody. I apologize for being late. I was in the hospital, not for myself, for my patients. But my name is Sabria. I am a third-year medical student at Boston University School of Medicine. And like Grace was saying, I was a part of an early med school program that Morgan has with Boston University. So I applied in my sophomore year of college, and by the grace of God, got in. And now I'm a third year medical student. So how do I think that Morgan prepared me? I think Morgan prepared me for excellence. I always remember something that Dr. Winstead said, which seemed like it wouldn't really relate to me being a doctor, but it relates to me every day, where we were in class one day and she was asking us to explain, I don't know, some chemical something to her, and almost none of us could do it. And she stopped the class and said to us, you need to learn how to communicate your science. You need to learn how to communicate your science. And really what she was saying to us is you need to learn how to tell people what you are thinking. You need to be able to communicate. And that resonates with me every day, because every single day I go into the hospital and I have to communicate my thoughts. Sorry, I'm in a room with a timed light. I have to communicate my thoughts to my team so that my patients can get the care that they deserve. So that's just one little snippet of how Morgan prepared me. Maybe I would have gotten that advice somewhere else, but I don't think it would have resonated as well had it not come from a person who looked like me, who was doing a job that, you know, I found admirable at an institution that felt like home. So Morgan prepared me by allowing me to be comfortable with my surroundings, and then also teaching me that I had something to say that was valuable, and taught me how to communicate that.
All right, thanks, Sabria.
Wow, what a statement.
I'm going to go to Dominique. So Dominique and I, and I'm so sorry, Dominique, I'm going to say this. We have a similar journey where we applied to PhD programs and we didn't get it immediately. I applied for 7 years and I did not, and rejection sucks. It's painful. I sat down and cried. So Dominique, how was your journey?
Yes, so I can start by when I initially applied to the RISE program. So once I applied to the RISE program, I actually joined an organic chemistry lab. And remind you, I was a biology major. So one motto that I always stick to myself is like, don't knock anything until you try it. So I go into an organic chemistry lab with no chemistry experience at all. I don't know anything. I never took a chemistry class, but I go into this advanced organic chemistry lab, and I end up loving it. But while enjoying that laboratory, I wanted to venture out into a laboratory that was in the field of biology. So I applied to Hopkins and I got accepted to a summer program that allowed me to get more involved into biomedical research in the biology field of things, and which I loved. So after that program, I decided to apply for PhD programs because at that moment I knew I wanted to do research. So I applied to a lot of PhD programs, and like Grace said, I didn't get accepted to any of them. However, by amazing mentor that I had named Dr. Winstead that everyone's talking about, she knew of a program called the PrEP program. And this program is designed to prepare underrepresented students to research and to, prepare underrepresented students to the biomedical workforce and potentially apply to PhD programs or MD programs. So prepares you to like get into graduate school and stuff. So I applied to those programs and I got accepted to that. And so I thank God that I was able to get into those type of program, into that particular type of program, which is Virginia Tech Prep Program, because that allowed me to really dive into my research and understand all that comes with being a biomedical researcher. And also these type of programs also allow you to take graduate level courses along with conducting research. So although, you know, me and Grace had a lot of no's in the beginning, there are ways to get around it. And that also tells, and this story also is for everyone that might feel like, you know, oh, I don't know anything about, you know, biomedical research or anything like that. Just don't knock anything until you try it and keep pushing toward the dreams that you want, because dreams do come true. And also have an amazing mentor that can guide you to programs like the prep program. So once I applied to the prep program, got accepted to 10 different PhD programs, and I decided to come to UNC. So yeah, that's my spiel, that's my journey.
Wow. There's one question in the chat, Dominique. What was the name of the Hopkins summer program?
So it was called Hope Summer Program, but they changed the name. But if I can put in my email in the chat, and you're more than welcome to email me, and I can get the updated name of that program. But they have a whole lot of summer programs at Hopkins. And I just put my email in there.
Thank you very much. There's another question in the chat, Grace, that asks, do you have programs like a summer bridge program or a program like that that would get a student in high school who needs to sort of strengthen their skills in maybe science and math ready for classes when they get, you know, into these programs at Morgan?
Go ahead, Christabelle.
Okay, so I can take this one because I am a part of a program at Morgan called CASA. I know Morgan students usually know about CASA, and it is a program that you can apply to. I think, I'm not sure how the process goes for applying because I'm a tutor for CASA, but I do know once you get into CASA, it's like a summer bridge program. So you take, I think, not remedial, but you take like entry level math and English classes that help you get ready for the Morgan classes in the fall. And it's a really cool program. People love it. Because of COVID, you're more in your virtual, but however, before COVID, you were in person, you know, on campus, taking these classes like you were a Morgan student. And this was after you applied to Morgan. So I guess this was after the high school, in between the high school and college part. So it's a program that you apply to, you take Morgan classes that prepare you for the upcoming fall semester. And it's a really good program if you do choose to apply to Morgan. I know I'm originally from Baltimore City, so I went to Poly. If anybody knows what Poly is from high school, but it was definitely a really good program that I know some of my fellow Poly students got into, and they were more than prepared to take on the hardships of college through the college classes. So if you want to apply to CASA, I can also put their link down in the chat. So yeah.
Right. Thanks, Christabelle. And so I see a lot of question about mentorship. So for mentors, I don't want you, like, if you choose to come to Morgan, I don't want you to feel pressured, like I have to find a mentor. So we work with you in all the programs, Ascend, Lsamp, Rise, to find a mentor who will be good for you, like a good match for you. And if you go into a lab, you're like, oh, Grace, I'm really not feeling this, you know, we'll sit down and help you find another mentor. So, and also you're not limited to that mentor. So you can be in one class, like in this lab, but you like this somebody else, like you find that mentorship work, that's totally fine with us. So mentorship in our programs is not limited, and you don't have to come knowing who you want your mentor to be. And I'm going to ask Piers. So Piers, how was it that, I mean, you graduated from Morgan. I think all of us have a paper published at some point. A paper published means you have your research work that is out there for people to read and they can use it. And I think you had like 3 or 4 papers and you had 1 presentation awards. And then what made you go apply to the NIH instead of going to MD, PhD program immediately?
It really came down to just the experiences I had in the RISE program at Morgan. So because I was a chemistry major, of course I did research in Dr. Abebe's lab, which is an organic chemistry lab. But speaking with Dr. Holman, speaking with Dr. Winstead, we felt that I needed a little bit more research in terms of the, straight biology, cell culturing, some computational analysis. And so I actually did 2 summer internships at the Institute for Computational Medicine at Johns Hopkins, as well as I did an internship involving cell culture in the cardiac bioelectric lab at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine under Dr. Tung. And then came the point where I just needed more, because I went to go into basically neuroengineering as well as neurosurgery. I needed a little bit more experience in terms of, or I felt I needed more experience in neuroscience. And that's how I ended up at NIMH, where I'm getting a boatload of experience in neuroscience research, from computational analysis to histology, surgeries. I just did a surgery last week or whichever week was the 21st. Last month I did 2 surgeries, one on the 4th, one on the 21st. I have one coming up on the 15th, another one coming up on the 11th. So it's been a great experience, but I felt that's what I needed to really solidify my chances of being a strong candidate for the application process, which it worked, because by the grace of God, I was 3 for 3 in terms of the programs I applied to.
Congratulations.
So
Thank you.
All right. And one of the other things I want you guys to see is that some of us have a straight journey, like Sabria got in her sophomore year, she got into medical school. Some of us struggled along the way.
Hold up. I didn't have a straight journey. I took my years off before I went to college. It's a very long story, but it wasn't all as it seems to be. I'm not as young as I think I am.
And so our goal for you guys to see is that as long as you have a dream and you have somebody cheering you on, of which Morgan has done that for us, most of us who have been mentored by Dr. Winstead, we know we can call her at any moment. And you guys know who worked with me that you can text me or whatever, call me and talk to me at any moment, and I'll be there for you. And that's one of the things that I treasure about Morgan. And even when you're rejected, they're still there with you. And when you get in, they're there with you to celebrate. And then when you get a big mountain, I'm like, look, I can do it. You just call them and they just help you along the way. So that's one of the things that we love about Morgan. Yes, and I keep saying question about middle school programs. Yes, so we actually have research program for high school students. And again, I didn't have any experience in organic when I did research. Dominique said she didn't have any research experience. I think a couple of us didn't have any experience. Michaela did not have any experience. I think Michaela was a freshman when she got in, sophomore. We didn't have any research experience, and you learn on the way. I don't think there's anything that can prepare you for a lab or for a research experience. You just have to learn along the way. And if you make mistakes and you can't present, and like for me, I used to freak out before I present, it's okay. It's a learning journey, and we're there with you, and we'll hold your hand until you can be able to stand on your own.
Can I add something to answer that question?
Yes.
So prior to my time at Morgan, so I entered Morgan in 2014. When I was a junior in high school, I actually was in a program called the STEMcx program. It was a summer academy of math and sciences. Now I think it's called the Summer Academy of Actuarial Sciences and Mathematical Sciences, something like that. But that was a 6-week residential program for high school students. For them to come on campus, and each week was a different science. So one week was a math week, another week was a biology week, there was an actuarial science week. I don't know the specifics of the program now because I was in it back in a long time ago. But it's paid. You take college level computer science, English 101, and whatever math course you test in, like you take the AccuPlacer and everything. So if you pass these classes by the end of your 6 weeks, you are eligible for college credits by the time you start college. So that was a pipeline program that I was in. I didn't have any actual intentions of going to Morgan State, but it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And that being part of that program gave me some familiarity with the campus itself and some of the people that I will come in contact with. So that's it.
And there's a link to that program in the chat now. So please take advantage if you're interested.
All right, so we're almost running out of time. We have like 5 minutes left. So one of the questions is, what do you wish you had done prior to prepare you for the program? And I'm not so sure what program it is. Maybe it's RISE or Lsamp or Ascend or whatever program that you were in at Morgan. I said nothing because I was prepared for everything. Like if I came knowing something, then I would have messed my head up. And anybody else can go popcorn style.
Yeah, I agree with you, Grace. I mean, I was a sophomore when I applied to the RISE program. And like I said, I didn't even know what research was, to be honest. But I heard it was something that was funded by the NIH, would sound cool. So I just, applied and ended up loving it. And now I'm in a PhD program. So yeah, you don't have to have any preparation prior to going into the RISE program. So yeah.
I can go. The one thing, sorry if my internet is scratchy, I don't know what's going on. The one thing I can say is that come in with an open mindset. That's all I can really say, because I went in with research experience before I got to college. I had the opportunity to work with Hopkins in a biophysics lab, and when I got to Morgan and I did research, all of that went because it's like you just have to come in with like an open mind and understand that your window of opportunity can go anywhere. So just be prepared to want to learn new things and to put your best foot forward, because you never know who's watching.
I agree with that. To just have an open mind. When I started undergrad, I was full force going to medical school. I didn't care what anybody had to say about it. And I know for a fact Sabria can attest to this. Like I was like, medical school, medical school, medical school. I was like, that was what I wanted to do. I was even in RISE and they were like, well, you have to apply to grad school. And I was like, okay, but no. And it wasn't until, I'm pretty sure it was my junior year, the beginning of my senior year, that I actually made like a change of mindset. And it was like, this is more of what I want to do, because I know this is how I will achieve this goal that I've been working towards my whole life. Not that medical school can't get me there, but the way in which I wanted to learn the information and present the information was different in doing basic scientific research than doing than being a medical doctor. So at the end of the day, like, I'm still going to be a doctor. It might be a different kind of doctor, but I'm still a doctor and I'm still doing the things that I wanted to do. So having an open mindset is definitely beneficial.
The one thing that I would say is that I wish that I guess I knew it, but it didn't feel right to me, is that it's okay to try new things. Like, as soon as when you get to high school or you get to college or you get to whatever new thing it's going to be, nobody really expects you to be an expert on anything because you're there to learn. So I would say that my advice for that is try everything that you have the opportunity of trying, because you never know what it is that you're going to like or what career you're going to want to do just because you had this one experience. And also, don't be afraid to ask questions and to look a little dumb sometimes. It might feel wrong and sort of scary at first, but I feel like at this point I'm sort of like a professional at being wrong. But the best way to learn is to be wrong as many times as possible, so that the next time you see it, you can't be wrong again because you felt that little bit of embarrassment, like, I'm never going to forget this. So just like try, have fun, like learn. It's a really exciting time for all of you. So just be open to learning as much as you can.
Thank you. Grace, can I ask one quick question? So there's so many different programs. Let's say somebody wanted to or was interested in Morgan and sort of wanted some assistance on what kind of program or what of the many programs out there they should consider. What step would they take if that's what they were interested in?
All right. So, okay. So I'll answer it for RISE and I'll let Christabelle answer it for Ascend, right? So for RISE, the first summer, we want to train you. We will pay you 40 hours a week and we will train you how to do research experiences. And then the second summer, you are not required. You can apply to as many internships and we'll help you through that journey in applying. So because the first time, when you go to a summer program, you feel overwhelmed because you've never been in a lab, you've never done this before. So the first summer we want you to be there, kind of learn how to do a poster presentation, an oral presentation, how to talk science, how to write a research paper. We will train you for a whole summer to do that. And then as you go, I think somebody like Dominique and Pierce, in their senior year, they ended up doing internships at Morgan. Like even in the school year, you guys did not do research at Morgan. You guys ended up doing at Hopkins. So our whole point is to first train you with everything, and then we will let you be able to go out so you don't feel overwhelmed when you go out.
Thanks very much. So we have 1 minute left. So are there any questions out there for any of the students? There's actually an opportunity there for a high school student. So if there's a high school student on that is interested in hearing about an opportunity at NIH, take a look at the chat and copy that for yourself. So I had sent the links to all the different programs earlier. If you didn't see them and you're interested in getting them, just email me again. I can send you the links. I can also send you anything that was in the actual PowerPoint, because Grace was kind enough to send that to me. I want to say thank you to all these students, impressive students in all these different areas of your life. Best wishes for a continued journey, doing well out there, navigating through the world. It sounds like you had a tremendous foundation. So I'm sure the sky's the limit for all of you. We'd like to meet this Dr. Winstead one day. It sounds like she's an amazing person. So hopefully we all get a chance to meet her one day. And thank you again. We really appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you, Sandra, for having us. We really appreciate you.
Okay, and good luck. And thank you everyone for joining. And as with the other scholars programs, this one will be available to rebroadcast. If you'd like to go back and take a look, and you may see some stuff already out there on social media with some of our great speakers. So thank you again.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.